Hello everyone, welcome to this. This is our third in a series of webinars we're hosting as part of our annual user community symposium. Just a quick note to let you know that we are recording this webinar. I'm thrilled to be joined by Oscar Gu, Operations Director at Future Shift. Hi Oscar.
Hiya, nice to be here.
Thanks for taking part. So Oscar will be driving most of this presentation, tell you how Future Shift use Metagrid to deliver B Corp certification for their clients. Before I do, just a quick bit of housekeeping, a few things to show you. This is part of a series of webinars. Yesterday we did two. They're both available to watch on demand. If you go to metagrid.com/webinars, you'll find them there. We've got this one with Oscar now, and then this afternoon at 4 o'clock we have MGI Learning and our CEO Don Morehouse going through a case study of a Metagrid implementation at a training company. Tomorrow at 2 we have Step 5 group going through how they're going to start using Metagrid for large-scale transformational projects. Then you've got me at 4 o'clock running through our product roadmap workshop, where it gives you your chance to have a say on any future features you'd be interested in. And then on Thursday at 2 we have a guest webinar with Eco Sulis, who are rewilding experts. They're going to be talking about environmental impact of large-scale construction engineering products and how we can minimize that. And then finally at 4 o'clock on Thursday, we have Don Morehouse and Mark North, one of our senior developers, talking about the future of project assurance and machine learning and AI. So if you're interested in any of those future ones, sign up at metagrid.com/webinars. If you miss them, they'll be available there to watch a recording. Last quick note before I hand over to Oscar. We're accepting questions, so I'm just going to paste this link into the chat in here so you can just click it and follow it. But essentially, if you go there, you'll find a little interface where you can post questions. So as Oscar goes through, if you suddenly think of a question, type it in there, it will come up and we'll discuss those at the Q&A in the end. Okay, over to you, Oscar.
Thank you very much, Jody, and thank you for having me. I'm going to be speaking about how we Future Shift use Metagrid to deliver sustainability certifications in the small business and SME space. I should be able to take control now. There we go. First, I'll go through some background, looking at the kind of sustainability space that we're working in. So how Future Shift see the sort of sustainability sector right now. And then we'll look specifically at what we do at Future Shift. And then on to our challenge, which is kind of best defined by our mission. And I'll break down our mission into its kind of component parts. And then onto the solution, which is our use of Metagrid, which we call platform-led consulting, which is kind of a new, what we find a new way of doing consulting, which overcomes a lot of barriers to small businesses. Then we'll look at the results, which is sort of how we arrived at Metagrid and how we started using it, and as an early stage startup, how Metagrid can be sort of used to influence an offering and also drive innovation. And finally, we'll look to the future, and Jody will kind of host a Q&A where I can answer some questions. So how was this? There we go. So just some background about us. So Future Shift was born in November of last year. We celebrated our year birthday on the 11th of November. By me and my business partner Will, we call ourselves a COVID-driven company because we were very excited to go off around the world and participate in some exciting sustainability projects, and that all got shut down. So we decided to put our energy into this kind of Bristol sustainability space and just see what we could do by sort of applying our kind of enthusiasm for sustainability locally. Will's a marine biologist and I'm a biotech engineer. So we're from science backgrounds. We love methods. We love an algorithmic approach to things. And we think that business needs a bit more of that injected in. So that's what we kind of try to do based on our backgrounds. And we began using Metagrid in January of this year. So that's coming up to our 1 year birthday of collaboration. And it was through a client's recommendation. And there we go. So looking into now the sort of systemic background and the sort of UK sustainability space, why it needs us and what we're doing in there. This recent Hargreaves Lansdown article, which sort of looked at the 5 highest ESG scoring company in the FTSE 100. We've got AstraZeneca and GlaxoSmithKline, which have a lot of sort of social impact issues to do with their sort of business models. British American Tobacco, Coca-Cola, quite obvious health impacts, and Glencore, a mining company that functions in Congo. So with these 5 at the top end of performers in the UK, we had to ask the question, why on earth are these companies top performers? What's causing that? Because it doesn't really seem to reflect their ESG performance that we like is quite clear from their business activities. And we answered that question with that sustainability is not a level playing field. And that's especially true on the grounds of funding and money and so financial input into sustainability. So this graph here looks at the relationship between the amount of money that a company can put into a sustainability action on the x-axis here, and on the y-axis is the relationship between money and the sustainability credentials of a company. So how the company looks to investors, funds, to the general public, and governments and regulatory bodies with respect to sustainability. So there's a sort of positive sort of correlation between the amount of money and how good a company looks, which explains this Hargreaves Lansdown article and the kind of the fact that doesn't really make sense. And if we look at these big corporations and we ask why do they have such high sustainability credentials, it's because they are sort of supported by big big consulting firms that are charging upwards of 50, 100,000 pounds for a single sustainability project, or they have an in-house sustainability team working around the clock on making them look good, really. And this is, and then when we look slightly smaller financial inputs, we've got sort of medium-sized consultancies offering the higher end of SME-sized companies a service of about £500 to £800 a day, and this allows them to have pretty decent, they look pretty decent in terms of sustainability. This £800 a day mark is still a hugely sizable barrier when it comes to small businesses deciding whether they receive help in implementing sort of sustainable changes. So now we move on to who we work with and the sort of profiles of these people. So we've got Susan, who's the head of marketing. We've got Simon, a summer intern, and Sid, who's a startup owner. They all have a lot of some features in common, like they have a lot of things on their desks. They're not sustainability officers all the time. They have to kind of wear all those hats, with sustainability just being one of them. They use Google and free resources online to do the kind of best they can. And what we're really thinking of is what these people need as a kind of first step at an appropriate price to improve their the time that they spend on sustainability and allowing them to reach some kind of level of sustainability which the public and people that look at this company can recognize as a company which is moving forward in sustainability. So what we're really saying is that this green company space, up at the upper half of companies' sustainability credentials, that should not be achieved through spending alone. That should be achieved through true sustainability and where they are in their sustainable transition. So we at FutureShift are looking to change the gradient of this line so that the green green company space is populated by smaller companies with a lower spend. So this is really where we work, and this is kind of like the green zone that we're trying to change things in. So a bit of specific background into what we do. We certify companies as we help companies certify as B Corp. You may have heard of B Corp. It's gaining a lot of traction in the UK and globally. It was started by companies like Patagonia as an ethical business certification. So it looks all the way through a company at their workers, at how they treat their local community, as well as environment type sustainability, and it scores them in all of those areas. So essentially there are 800 individual tick boxes that indicate whether a company does or doesn't do a certain practice. So what we do at FutureShift is we focus on allowing companies to have a score which is passing in B Corp, and also to implement the kind of changes that they need to do in order to pass the certification. B Corp, in its own words, certifies companies that meet the highest standards of social and environmental impact. So something that we want to support, and that there's a large market with hundreds of new applicants every month. The UK is the largest, is the fastest growing B Corp community in the world, and it's an exciting space to be in. At the very start of FutureShift's existence, so in November of last year, we reached out to a lot of B Corps in the UK and interviewed them, asking them what the pains were of their process. And the results of that research were that they wanted better project management, so they needed structure, and they wanted resources all in one space, and which is knowledge. So structure and knowledge became the two kind of the backbone kind of aims of what we were offering. And a big barrier to them getting help was that it was too expensive, and that they wanted to provide evidence because of quite an intense auditing phase at the end of the certification journey. So Metagrid really provided a lot of these kind of pain points, or solutions to these pain points that we identified through the research. Our mission at FutureShift is to redesign sustainability for small business. If we look at what's specifically going on, what we use Metagrid for, we can actually replace sustainability with B Corp. So we redesign B Corp and how a small business certifies as B Corp for small businesses with them in mind. So if we break down our mission statement into sort of three component parts, we are redesigning, and we're doing B Corp, and we're doing it for small businesses. And if I go a bit further on them, it kind of defines our challenge quite well. So within redesign, we need to work on the cutting edge of project management technology, which is what Metagrid gives us. We need to find new ways of doing things in a system that's powerful enough to capture and allows us to capture our own designs and our own methodology, while being sort of flexible and powerful enough to have a lot of features that we already need and don't need to design in there. In terms of B Corp, the fact that we're doing B Corp, it's a constantly evolving certification. So it needs to be updatable on a modular level, which is what the elements in Metagrid give us. There are lots of questions. There are 800 kind of individual tick boxes, which is very interactive. So it needs to be an interactive thing that you can tick and untick. There's a focus on reporting. So we use Google Sheets, the sort of Excel, cloud-based Excel, and we like to embed that in there. So Metagrid allows that. And there's a real focus for evidence because, of course, most certifications are audited at the end in order to see if you've actually passed. So the evidence is very important. And then really we get to the crux of what we're doing, and we're working with small businesses. So we have to hit a viable price point, which was identified in the hundreds of pounds per month. As soon as you go above that, it's a barrier, and we're not going to capture the kind of people, the Susans, as the head of marketing in a very small company, we're not going to be able to capture that market that we want to. And then we need to also be able to work with teams of a variable size. We need to be able to have either one person in a one-person startup, or as a company gets bigger, or for bigger companies, include more people in the process. If I take you through kind of how we work operationally on Metagrid, kind of in the back end, it will sort of it will make things clearer when I show you actually what we do on Metagrid. So the first real stage of what we do in our consulting is that clients fill in these 800 checkboxes. So they either do or don't do certain things. For example, it may be that a company has or the tick box would say, we have a breastfeeding policy. So they either do or they don't. If they don't, then they leave that unchecked, and we say, okay, it's pretty easy to implement a breastfeeding policy. Let's put that in your platform so that you can perform this practice in your business and gain points for it in the certification. So we figure out what boxes they need to tick, but haven't, to pass the certification, getting the point score that they need. We then build a platform that guides through these boxes, and only these boxes that they need to certify, or the practices that they need to implement. And then the client, over a period of time working through the platform, implements the practices that they need to pass the certification. That's kind of really like the skeleton model of what we do. There are a lot of steps in there, but that kind of outlines everything that is required to understand this next bit. So, sorry. So our take one, really, we looked at Notion, which is another kind of, it's a bit more of a note-taking platform. It was just what we were using at the time, and within our first few months, it made sense to try and do something that was quite simple in a platform that we knew. There were some pretty, and this is a screenshot from what we sent to our first research clients, and it was really just a list. And that's the most kind of detail that we got in terms of project management. There was a list, there was no timings in it. We could do a lot of tagging. You could tick or untick things, but that was pretty much the extent to which you could organize things. So that was a huge issue for us, that we wanted a higher level of organization, and we also wanted to be able to sort of respond to people, create accounts for people, that kind of stuff. So you see here in the people thing, we've got we're just tagging people's names. So it's not linked to their account or anything. We were just sort of like bodging our way through it. So then we got to talking to Metagrid and started putting some of our IP in there and seeing how it would sort of configure and work on the client level. And from this, we can see where we use our grids in the process. So the client fills in these 800 checkboxes. We've got a big master grid of all 800 of these checkboxes. We haven't written them all yet, but we've written quite a few of them. And this is the replicable IP that Metagrid do so well. So if I can share my screen now, I should be able to. How is that? I will trust that works. So this is a master implementation platform. That's what we call the platform that we sell. And as you see here, there's many tick boxes that relate to resource sheets, which are the elements here. So if I go into one of the ones that we have written, we can see here that there will be a sustainability practice, and they'll get a note from us, which is a very kind of informal, informal. This is what you're doing now, kind of thing. And then a step-by-step implementation, which is really like an algorithmic look at how to implement this to the level that B Corp require, and a delivery checklist. A lovely thing here is using the uploading evidence feature, which our clients find extremely important, and also allows us to perform a mock audit before the certification audits them. If we look at a bit more of a complicated one, we can see that there are more things to deliver. There are longer implementations, and there are more examples that you can have a look at as well. We have templates that we provide in here, and we use this structure to sort of standardize the information that we're giving to clients. And there are so many areas of innovation that we're looking at. We're looking at now these notes from us could be videos. So we're looking to talk directly to our clients, so they get that kind of consulting experience through the platform, and they get a kind of a proper introduction to it. And Metagrid allows us to do this because there's the nice video feature that looks and works beautifully in this kind of environment. And now I'll kind of show you, this is on our website, we have a kind of a demo video of what we do. Of the kind of user experience through it. So this is like pretending you are a user through the eyes of them. And I'll just let that play. So this is a grid for a specific client. They've got this structure that you've just seen. They look at all of these things. They get the right information and the right template to complete this specific task. And then they can look at the delivery. They can use Metagrid to comment. They can ask us questions. So this is where like the platform-based consulting really comes into its own. And we can just say yes. They don't have to pay £800 a day for me to come and say yes or no. This will take me a couple of minutes checking my emails in the morning. And so that's kind of what it looks like through our client's eyes. I will find a way to stop presenting, and then if
yeah, I'll just bring back the presentation.
You could, yeah, thank you.
So
that's what kind of, yeah, thank you. I can take control now.
There you go.
There we go, lovely. So this is kind of what happens in the background of what we do. We have a large bank of replicable IP, and we sell small sections of this IP to clients to certify them. And we've got a whole sort of system of how we know that they're definitely going to. Okay, I can resume. How's that? Yeah, there we go. Sorry. How is that there? Yeah, so we have a method of making sure that the information that the client gets, the boxes that they have to tick, links to the assessment for B Corp, which allows them to make sure that they get over the 80 points mark and certify smoothly. So now thinking a bit about like the future of what we're looking to do, that we are looking now and also like through Metagrid, how we're using Metagrid in the future. So we're currently working with clients to embed B Corp into the induction process, which is something that Metagrid captures really well. We're in talks with a group of consultants to kind of project manage carbon footprint data collection. So moving away from B Corp and towards other very project oriented sustainability activities. We're looking at companies with lots of different sites. Something that's nice about it being so replicable is that we can just copy paste a load of them out. If a cafe, for example, had a lot of different sites, we could give them the same carbon footprint grid to fill out and then collate all that data. We're designing a grid that allows clients to write an impact or sustainability report, which is the natural progression after B Corp. Another thing that's very algorithmic in our view, and that can be captured with this replicable IP very well. We're collecting best practices. We're looking at how to paint by numbers, really, using this algorithmic approach to things to allow our clients to paint by numbers by only getting the information that they really need and filling in the areas that they need in order to reach a specific goal. So yes, anything algorithmic within sustainability, we're looking to capture. There's only 2 of us. We don't have enough hours in the day to do every exciting project that we want to do, but that's probably the beauty of Metagrid as a platform, that when we work through it, we see so much potential of things that we can use it for, that that is really the heart of how it sort of inspires innovation, and has been doing for almost the last year with us. So that's the end of my my slides. So I can go back to you, Jody.
Yeah, thanks, Oscar. Really good, really useful, interesting stuff. I think we'll all agree. So yes, we have got some questions coming in. So just a reminder, I posted that link in the chat. If you click on the little icon on top of Teams, you'll see that there's a link in there. If anyone wants to actually talk and ask a question, just there's a raise your hand feature there, and I can enable your microphone and we can have a chat. Feel free. Andrew, Oscar, have you had any challenges with clients learning how to use Metagrid? Did you need to change anything from what you initially launched with your clients?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and something that we are, with every platform that we deliver, we're learning new things every time. One of the big ones really was how to cater for the people that don't interact with technology that well, that won't be able to understand that, like, when they're using Google Slides or something, how to really bridge the gap between, using Google Docs, bridge the gap between Metagrid and Google Docs, and understand that they're different platforms and won't sort of cross communicate. There are people that don't like that kind of stuff, and sort of how to cater to their needs was like the biggest thing. We thought that everybody would just really learn it, but I think because we've got this element of consulting of what we do, those people that don't really work well with all of the technology, we can then do some sort of in-person coaching with them, and then we have something for everybody, and we don't need to go that kind of long way round of trying to teach somebody that's not going to ever really click with all technologies, a brand new technology, because that's kind of not in our job description, and we don't really want that to be our job. So we kind of, yeah, to answer the question, we pick up those people that wouldn't interact well with any technology, Metagrid included, and we push the kind of classical consulting, the old school stuff on them. And that's why we're in a sort of time between an old school way of doing stuff and a new school technology driven way of doing stuff. And we don't want to fight the fact that we're in this sort of one foot in each time, or like time of development. We want to kind of embrace that, and that's why we're trying elements of classical consulting, and this new platform-driven consulting is kind of our priority. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's great. Andrew, I'll mark it as answered. If you've got any other follow-up questions, just post them in there. So another question we've got here is, how has Metagrid as a platform helped you as a new consulting business? Yeah, so
that's a really nice question to answer, because I've got a lot. So first off, it did inspire the fact that we could do the consulting that we thought we could do, but we could do that all the while being assisted by a platform. We felt when we were starting out in the first few months that it would be only at the end of our sort of 10-year plan that we would start to be able to roll out a platform of all our resources, because we would have to build it ourselves, and you need a lot of money, a lot of expertise that we didn't have. We're not computer scientists, we're sort of environmental scientists. But Metagrid, like from the first call, it was kind of everything that we wanted to build, but it already existed, which was really nice. So we were just able to, from kind of day one of using it, to start sort of hauling over our IP and arranging it within their vision, but a vision that is like so like sort of operationally similar to what we wanted to do, that it made it a very easy thing, and sped up our development by quite a lot of quite a lot of years. I was speaking to someone today, actually. I was saying that I was going and speaking at a user symposium, and I told them that it's like that we can say that we have an IT department almost, that we have, like, we would need an IT department if we were going to do that on our own, but we're just two people and with all the features that we can boast about on our website and all the features that we can boast about that our platform has, it does have, but it wasn't necessarily developed by us, but it makes so much sense as consultants to have these features that we can we can scream and shout about that, and it sort of makes our offering so much more attractive, but also the hard work's already been done. So these are very kind of clear features. They're not kind of features that are like always in development for us. They're things that we've chosen to take from it and contain in our offering. So like it's a hard thing to say that. Well, I'm not sure. It's a big thing to say that you can say that you've got another department. We don't actually say that we have an IT department, but it feels sometimes as if we do, which is hugely positive. It's all about now looking a bit bigger than what we actually are, which is a big thing about client confidence really in us. And if we look big, if we look slightly more developed as than we actually are, so our clients are more confident in us and are more likely just to take that first step, and we do deliver on that first step because we're backed up by a very good IT department.
That's good. That's great. Thanks, Oscar. It's very, very kind. Yeah, well, we try to provide a kind of, like a blank bit of paper, but in a structured manner with our grids. So hopefully that's helped you guys. I've had another question. I mean, it's from Patrick at Outform Consulting. He says, "Hi, Oscar. How much do clients want a platform-based offering as opposed to the traditional consulting offering?"
Really, really interesting one, and kind of can be answered by the development of our services over time, really. So we develop our services kind of when they're asked for, really. If a couple of clients ask for a certain service, we'll go, okay, yeah, we can make that a thing. Because if clients right now want it, there'll be others in the future that we're pretty sure that would want it. So from kind of day one, we thought that we could just be the tech platform people, offering either just a subscription, monthly subscription per user per month basis, and then a slightly more expensive, 2.5 times the price of just the just the subscription, a 1-hour coaching a month along with your subscription to the platform. So that's the platform-led consulting. One of them is just platform subscription. We then probably about 5 months ago had, by popular demand, to bring out a subscription, but not to the platform, a subscription to us. So we work 1 or 2, we call it the shift subscription, one for SMEs and one for startups, where we spend a certain amount of hours as an out-of-house sustainability consultant, an out-of-house sustainability department of a company every month. So we brought that out because there was a desire for classical consulting, and especially classical consulting before they get onto the platform. That was the big one, because they need to develop some trust with us, and that's through personal sort of interaction and coaching, that kind of more like hourly day rate kind of stuff. And then we're actually at a stage now with a lot of clients where we've had a couple of months interaction. They really get there. They want to go B Corp. They're on this 2 days of subscription to us of classical, like normal consulting. We're on a couple of months development there, and now they're ready to go on the platform because they've dipped their toe into the water of sustainability. They understand our processes, and now they're going to go onto the platform in complete confidence. And I think that is, like, for the future, is quite an interesting one to go to, sort of route to go down. That they need a bit of this sort of personal connection before they subscribe digitally, because we're probably not as we're not advertised as well as we possibly could be in terms of giving a client 100% confidence, because also sustainability is really complicated. It's not the same as a phone contract. You don't get the outcome of a certain amount of gigabytes a month. You get like complex outcomes that can affect your business and can affect every person in your business. So within sustainability, especially because of its complexity, there needs to be that kind of period of understanding before complete new school platform subscription. Yeah, so hope that made sense.
Good. I hope that answered your question. I mean, it's interesting that there's like a three-tier approach now. Just the platform with a bit of consulting, and then consulting, then the platform.
Exactly. Yeah, and we want to have kind of a nice balance of things out there, just to see what the market wants really, and what works best with us, and then also how Metagrid works. And there is always going to be a period as well where we have to build the platform. When's that best to come in? Is that like on first payment, or does that happen over a long period of time? Interestingly, so a development we've done now is within the Shift subscription model, which is the hours of normal consulting that we spend as the out-of-house sustainability department. We now offer one account, one company account for the company that we work with. And we're using that basically as a Kanban board of the sustainability practices that they're interested in that week or that month. So, for example, a company we work with who are a startup who are just employing their first people now. They want everything to do with job descriptions. They want to make a nice employee handbook which looks at social impact, and we're now giving them the resources that we have for that, but not through the B Corp certification, just in sort of general matching what they're doing in the company right now, guides and guidance. So that's actually working quite well. We've just developed the same kind of demo video for that, which is on our website under the Shift subscription. So this is actually quite a new way that we haven't really explored too much yet. This is like a sort of idea in the works, of incorporating the platform into even on an even lighter basis into our sort of day-to-day consulting practices.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've actually got one more question. It's anonymous, but it's are there any standout features of Metagrid that have really helped with this approach?
There are definitely, so I mentioned the evidencing side of things, and hugely important for anybody thinking about working with a certification through Metagrid. It's so useful for two reasons. One, when it comes to them certifying and being audited, they have all the evidence there. It's easy. It's all cloud-based. It's in one place. And also it gives us the chance to look through what they're doing, but on a very independent level. So we can, if somebody gives us an email going, I don't know if what I've been doing is right, we can then in 10 minutes, in a matter of 10 minutes, we can look through 5 pieces of work they've done and then really get a good idea of what they're doing. So we don't have to trawl through their internal system or a whole load of emails going back and forth. We actually have it related to the certain tasks that they need to do. And then we can come back with some really like high resolution feedback saying, okay, your environmental stuff is great, but we can see on the more sort of in your job description tasks, you've really misunderstood it. So we recommend that we have like a 30-minute call. We can just talk you through it. It will cost them under 100 quid to kind of do that kind of thing, or even less. And they get this like really high resolution feedback and support. The fact that we can assign tasks and keep the project management sort of features are fantastic, but not only for us, also for the people that are going to be leading the project in the company that we work with. So we can either take control of all of the deadlines and the dashboards and stuff like that, or, which is much more common actually, the person, the like internal champion or whatever you want to call that person, they can have that project manager role. So that's really nice that it is quite versatile, and it can be us or them, which clients like. And for another future development that we're looking at is that anybody can wear that project manager hat, not just us as consultants. Other consultants could definitely wear that project manager hat. So we get asked fairly often, can we use your platform, please? And we're just now thinking, okay, this is quite nice that anybody could wear the project manager hat. We can potentially lease our platform further down the line when it's very powerful and people want to use it, and keep those prices really, really low, so that we can get the most exposure possible. And we can help as many companies as we can. We can help as many of those Sids and Susans and Simons in their startup with loads of stuff on their plates. We can help all of them, and that's really what we want to do in democratizing sustainability. Finally, we can actually say, for a business of our size, what was really important, and this kind of answers a previous question as well, is that working in the digital space with a lot of compliance stuff that has to happen, like GDPR, having a secure network and stuff, that's something that we don't have the resources to do internally. And the fact that we can say with confidence to our clients that we work on a secure cloud-based system with, if it goes down, we know there'll be people on it, which it won't, but if it were, it's not us getting up in the middle of the night, but people that actually know what they're doing with a platform, that we have that and we can tell our clients that, makes us look so much more more mature than we are. Not than we are, but it makes us look very mature as a business, and our offering is just a lot more solid because of that. So it's made us the security side of things. That's in short. And I could go on all day, but I will.
No, that's great. That's good. But that's good. I mean, that's come to the end of the questions. I mean, I'll sort of hold on a minute in case anyone wants to post another one. Just a reminder, the link's in the chat there. But if we don't get any more, suffice to say, thanks ever so much, Oscar. Really good, really insightful. I think we can all agree that sustainability is something we all need to be doing. So the fact that you're out there helping small businesses is a weight off our minds. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Question. Thanks all. Thanks ever so much. We have another webinar starting at 4 o'clock today, which is with a company called MGI Learning, who have just been through a Metagrid implementation, which will show you how our consultants can take you through setting up Metagrid. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up metagrid.com/webinars. But for now, bye. Thanks, Oscar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye.